What are you doing?
I'm just looking at the world and writing a new piano piece.
Oh yeah? Can I hear it?
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to try and grasp the reality of the situation. We've once again reached the end of another tumultuous year here on Earth, and if I'm being honest, I can't be any more happier. Doing these year in reviews never get any easier. As I continue to grow as an individual, so does my thought process when it comes to interpreting certain news stories and events. Opinions that I held a year ago or even only months ago are no longer the ones I may believe in, as further research and analysis has led me to be converted into different types of thinking. I'd like to think that the same thing happens to you, the viewer, when it comes to interpreting the world around you. As with past years, the year 2018 offered the good, the bad, and the ugly to the public. It's at times like these when my mind begins to play tricks on me, and my perception of evil overtakes what I believe to be right in the world, as such preposterous events tend to discourage me and so many other individuals across the globe. Yep, I can safely say that I'm worried about the future. The format to this year's video will be different from those that came before. Rather than isolate the pop culture of the year into its own separate category, I am going to cover the most important events from the realms of politics to popular taste on a month-by-month basis. So yes, expect me to discuss the unfortunate Ugandan Knuckles meme in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen and fellow historians, this was the year known as 2018.
Hey, I really hate to say this. I think there's someone hanging right there. I'm not even f***ing kidding. Bro, did we just find a dead person in the suicide forest hanging?
On January 1st, 2018, I woke up from a night of celebrating with friends to a trend on Twitter detailing vlogger Logan Paul. Once I clicked on his name, my drowsy head kind of had an idea of what the pending year would bring. Logan Paul really screwed the pooch on this one, said a certain YouTuber who was milking this situation for subs. Yep. Essentially, the year online commenced with Logan Paul filming a dead body, leading to YouTube and its community in a fray of anger.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, and I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm simply here to apologize.
Around this portion of time, another travesty was making its waves on the internet. And no, it was actually not the Tide Pod challenge.
Do you know the way?
Right here is a chart detailing the popularity of this meme. And that's all you really need to know about it. On January 20th, 2018, the second year of the ever mind-boggling Trump presidency began, and on the same day, the government shut down. Spoiler alert, it happens again by the end of the year because politics sucks! Also in January, the League of Atomic Scientists moved their infamous clock to 2 minutes to midnight due to looming threats of nuclear war and climate change. Once the clock hits midnight, all hell breaks loose. At least according to them, that is. This is the closest it has been to midnight since 1953, but if I'm being honest, this clock has had its fair share of inconsistencies throughout its antiquity, so I wouldn't fully advocate for it. However, climate change and its irreversal will come to play in the later months of the year.
Everybody knows shit's
We are coming on the air at this hour with news of a school shooting in South Florida. This took place in Parkland, Florida.
On Valentine's Day, a mass school shooting took place in America. And the reason I say that so nonchalantly is to essentially make a point while also being somewhat insensitive at the same time. This is the list of all the mass shootings that took place within the United States in 2018. Holy shit. Following the Parkland shooting, the controversy over the Second Amendment led to both sides of the political aisle to argue over background checks, bans over assault weapons, and how to tighten safety among schools. The president even went as far to suggest that teachers ought to be armed. The issue over gun violence within the United States would haunt the rest of 2018 all the way until the midterms in November, and several survivors of the Parkland shooting would eventually encourage a movement called March for Our Lives, a group encouraging stronger gun violence prevention measures.
Let's go, ladies.
In March, porn actress Stormy Daniels filed a lawsuit against President Trump in regards to a non-disclosure agreement that was not signed by the president himself. The agreement detailed $130K in hush money to silence the actress during the 2016 election campaign over an affair she had with a businessman in 2006. The reason why this was such a big deal in 2018 was because of the disregard for basic campaign finance laws and the fact that it was illegal. The Stormy Daniels suit was but one of the many worries Trump had to undergo in his second year in office. Issues surrounding the Russian probe and Robert Mueller were also leveraging a fuming White House. 2018 was not Mark Zuckerberg's year. On April 10th, 2018, Zuck was questioned by a joint session of US senators following the leak of 87 million people's private information by the firm Cambridge. Facebook lost billions and continued to have an incredible amount of accusations of fake news. Overall, it was an entire year of trust issues for the social media site, and its future is still uncertain. And now, for the moment everyone has been waiting for. Fortnite. No 2018 list would be complete without the mention of this generation's Minecraft. Fortnite was the butt of the joke for almost every other ironic post you saw online in the year 2018. Its various dances contributed to rooms of schoolchildren being infatuated by John Wick. However, the epic game has spawned an entire slew of lawsuits regarding the emotes. The question of who has the true rights to flossing has become critical within the legal world. As the fidget spinner was to 2017, Fortnite is to 2018. Another cultural mammoth was released at the end of April. Marvel's blockbuster of the summer, Avengers: Infinity War, smashed box office records, garnering over $640 million in its opening weekend. It is also important to mention that the Infinity Gauntlet scene in the film became another cultural symbol of the year. Other important films of the summer of 2018 included the long-awaited sequel to The Incredibles, Deadpool 2, Solo. Okay. Childish Gambino's This Is America ushered in the summer of 2018 with its political commentary on racial inequality within the United States. The summer hits of the year were attributed by Drake, Ariana Grande, Maroon 5, and various other musicians, but most notably to me was Weezer's cover of Toto's Africa. Also in the summer, Gorillaz released a new album titled The Now Now, and it was damn good. Now to patiently wait another 10 years for them to release another. Oh well. At least I managed to see them live before they went on their long-ass hiatus. Expect probably one new Gorillaz video next year, you savages who subscribe to me for just that. On July 11th, 2018, President Donald Trump met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in a historic meeting in Singapore. This was set up following months of threatening to annihilate each other in trading spars. Following the summit, Trump suggested the idea of the denuclearization of the entire Korean peninsula, while the United States guaranteed the safety for the North Korean regime. After the meeting, North Korea persisted on being the dangerous nation it has always been. This led to a slew of confusion amongst pundits on what exactly was gained via these meetings. But to be fair, nothing is really gained from these summits. It's very rare when actual agreements are made by nations and their leaders. Of course, this doesn't excuse the fact that meetings like these ones are virtually in ways just symbolic. You see, diplomacy can be a complicated thing. A win for a country is a win for a country, and if no wins are collected, then everybody's time is just wasted. Immigration continued to become a hot-button issue in 2018 following the Trump administration's no-tolerance policy, in an effort to try and combat criminal prosecutions of immigrants. However, due to said policy, families were separated at the border during the summer, leading to an array of crises. Trouble at the border continued to escalate as the central migrant caravan continued to march its way towards the United States, leading to an enraged Donald Trump trying to make another giant push for his border wall.
I don't wanna grow up buying Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with.
One of the greatest casualties of 2018 came from the retail chain known as Toys R Us. Following years of declining sales, the retailer was pulled off of life support in June of 2018. This is mentioned on my 2018 list only due to the fact that I know how much this store meant to individuals across the country, and how it pertained to their childhoods. The end of the chain sends a saddening but also cautionary tale to other retailers out there like GameStop. Over time, general items and new advancements in technology can make the once mighty giants fall and become obsolete.
Once a Toys R Us kid,
Always a Toys R Us kid.
In mid-June, the hip-hop industry lost a controversial figure. On June 18th, 2018, the mental health attention seeker known as XXXTENTACION was shot to death at a motorcycle dealership in Deerfield Beach, Florida. In 2018, multiple high-profile deaths brought forth a particular idea of someone's legacy, and what they left behind, and if it truly was for the better of others. For Tentacion, critics argued that his emo-inspired music mixed with lo-fi elements led to a musical footprint to be gifted towards younger listeners. However, his legacy is contested with abuse claims toward his girlfriend. Beating your girlfriend is not cool, kids. I admire his contributions, but from what I've read while researching for this video, the trauma he had caused others had been absolutely repulsing. In July, Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn was fired by Disney following the findings of a couple old tweets he made several years ago. Although these tweets featured edgy and funny jokes, I did not think it justified his firing. These tweets were uncovered by conspiracy theorist / asshole Mike Cernovich, the same dude who pursued the entire idea of Pizzagate being real. How embarrassing. He's just as bad as those dudes who unironically have a kick flag as their header, like on Twitter or something. It would be so funny if it weren't so sad. The cast of Guardians tried their hardest to make sure Gunn retrieved his job back, but Disney did not budge. Throughout the months of June and July, Russia hosted the FIFA World Cup. Now you see, I come from a Hispanic household, so each time one of these rolls around, I'm always rooting for the Mexican team. But unfortunately, they seem to have a problem even entering the quarterfinals, and this pisses me and my dad off. No, cut the fucking music. What the fuck? Mexico! I believe one day, maybe in the near future, Mexico will redeem themselves and enter the quarterfinals. But until then, I'm going to seethe in my rage. In the end, France managed to retrieve the title World Cup champions. As the summer came to a close, the fall brought new surprises. In August of 2018, my home state of California was engulfed in its largest fires in its history, which if I'm being honest, was pretty fucking lame. On August 25th, 2018, Senator John McCain passed away, which once again questioned another individual's legacy. Personally, this hit me hard at first, but once I started to really critically think about it, I started to ponder the things John McCain did in his life. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was a maverick in his life and a political novice, but holy shit, dude. The senator's record should not be glossed over. Being one of the most pro-war members of the Senate, he encouraged of the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan, arguably two of the greatest blunders of the 21st century by America. I can say a couple nice things about McCain, however. I mean, he got me into politics. The earliest election I can remember was the one contested between John McCain and Barack Obama in 2008, 10 years ago. An excellent race that inspired me to study politics and analyze elections throughout American history. So there is that. Also on the same day of McCain's death, KSI took on Logan Paul in a fight, which was arguably a bigger tragedy. Football season returning presented a rerun to the knee protests. Colin Kaepernick was once again perceived as controversial, and his face was plastered all over billboards by Nike, which in turn spawned new epic memes. In the fall, Kanye West made headlines announcing his support for Trump, and then redacted any political comments he made only a couple weeks later, so cool. I will give him this, it was pretty funny when he wore a MAGA hat. However, I didn't really get the slavery was a choice joke. Maybe I missed the punchline there. And at the end of September to early October, the biggest made-for-TV moment was taking place. In July of 2018, President Trump appointed Brett Kavanaugh for the position of Supreme Court Justice. During his Senate hearings in the fall, he was accused of sexually assaulting a lady by the name of Christine Ford during her high school career. This led to one of the worst political episodes of 2018, and let me just say, there were some pretty bad ones. His confirmation process ignited an already fiery midterm election for both sides of the political aisle, which takes us into November. On the evening of November 6, 2018, Americans set a record voter turnout for a midterm election. Following the election, the Democrats regained control of the House of Representatives in a victory margin not seen since 1974's Watergate era, and the Republicans held on to the Senate with razor-thin victories across the nation. As November turned into December, former President George Bush Sr. passed away, leading to many tributes regarding his career and appreciation towards his country. Of course, he was also deemed as one of the most controversial figures of the past 30 years, much like John McCain, which once again brought forth the questioning of an individual's legacy. Bush joined a line of many other personalities the world lost this year, including Stephen Hawking, Mac Miller, Stan Lee, Stephen Hillenburg, Anthony Bourdain, Stefan Carl, Aretha Franklin, Barbara Bush, and many others. These beings have legacies, which takes me back to the topic of 2018. When we look back at 2018, what legacy will we have left behind? Have we done enough right to truly carry on into the next year? God, I hope so.
We must act on what we know. In crucial things, unity. In important things, diversity. In all things, generosity. We know in our hearts that this country has meaning beyond what we see and that our strength is a force for good.
I'm so fucking proud of you guys.
Tens of thousands of French football fans are celebrating. Within the last few seconds, their team has just won the World Cup.
In our hearts, we know what matters. To be a loyal friend, a loving parent, a citizen who leaves his home, his neighborhood, and town better than he found it.
Should all
2018 was the year of winning. For some, at least. As with so many other years, there were winners and there were losers. At the beginning of this video, I offered a dark prediction of the future, but don't let that fool you. I believe that what is right will eventually always prevail, and I still remain in ways optimistic of pending events. 2018 for me, personally, was an experience like none other. I lost and gained a hell of a lot, and I personally believe that it was all for the better. I've made a slew of mistakes and have made incredible decisions that have influenced who I want to be in the future. Here's a thanks to my friends and family who have continued to support me along the way. They continue to inspire me every single day. And here's a thanks to you, the viewer, for continuing along with me on this channel in its unorthodox ride. As I continue to grow as an individual, I look forward towards the final year of the 2010s decade. I'll be sure to return in the next year to continue to create, and I'll be back here again on December 31st, 2019, to review another year in our history. Happy New Year, everyone! I hope you all have a fantastic 2019.
Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?